What is truth? Is it feelings? Is it tips you heard from other people? Is it just saying whatever you have to say to make the money that you want to make? Candace Owens has made an entire career over the past 6 months saying her beliefs or her feelings or her tips that most often turn out to be lies in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination. No one has felt the brunt of this more than Charlie's widow, Erika Kirk, and his children. I myself have been attacked along with so many others, so we finally started to decide to, how would Candace put it, ask questions about the very people that are just asking questions. Now, Candace Owens would have you believe that we're trying to silence her. We're trying to racially profile her. We're trying to cover up for something. But we believe in the truth. We believe in debunking the lies with actual facts, not hearsay, not a tip line. No, the actual people that Candace Owens is single-handedly ruining lives. This particular lie revolves around a family, a mother, a daughter, and a dear friend to Erika Kirk around a bad feeling. And Candace Owens turns this lie, this tip, this misconception of the truth into prior knowledge of an assassination attempt on Charlie Kirk's life. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I introduce to you Tracy Barton.
Hello,
Tracy,
Graham.
thanks for being here.
Of course.
Before we start, because a lot of people are going to see this and they're going to ask us, this is our first time meeting.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
I haven't promised you any money. I haven't promised you any promotions in a company. We didn't pick our $7,000 checks up at the door.
I wouldn't take it anyway.
Yeah, it would take a lot more than that. No,
Yes.
I'm joking. Okay, so you reached out to me
Yes.
via Instagram, and I saw it. And at first, admittedly, I didn't know who you were. I didn't realize that you were the mom that Candace Owens has been talking about. Mm-hmm. My question to you is this. Before we begin, this is going to be picked apart. We will be attacked by Candace and her, I call them the Canaanites. We will be attacked by them for this.
Yes.
Why are you here? Why would you put yourself through this?
Well, first of all, I believe that this is a moment in time to where we have to speak out at this point. It's gone on long enough. I have been a dear friend to Erika's for 15 years, and everyone that knows Erika in this circle has been through Charlie. You met Charlie, that's how you met Erika. It's been this way, and then I realized that having 15 years of lived experience with her, somebody needs to speak out on the character of who Erika is. And Charlie knew exactly who he was marrying, and God knew that Erika would be the woman that she is right now. And so I think when you realize that there is a truth to this, and being a believer, I believe that we do protect the people that are being attacked. And I think that it's time that, you know, when you have truth and you realize that you have the voice to use it because there's nothing to hide. And Candace came after my family as well. You know, and so you don't get to do that. And,
No.
you don't get to have a platform and use it irresponsibly to destroy people. And you don't see the damage that you're doing because you're sitting in your studio and you're not on the receiving end of DMs, horrific accusations. And she went after my child.
Yeah.
So you just don't get to do that as a mother. I don't think anybody would stand by and watch that.
No, absolutely not. And I would argue that Candace doesn't care.
Oh, no, definitely not.
She doesn't care about who it hurts in real life. She doesn't care about real life consequences. Candace Owens will say, I didn't do anything wrong because I was simply presenting the facts or the tips as I got it in real time, which is her defense for cowardice. That is her defense across the board. I don't want to waste any time. People are here to find out the truth.
Yes.
And unfortunately, that's where we are.
Yeah.
We're at a position where we have to combat lies with the truth. It's the only way. It is the only way. So Candace Owens went on this tear where she said, essentially, that you called your daughter, who works for Erika, the day before Charlie's, or very soon before,
Right.
Charlie was murdered at UVU. That is what she said, and she has used that as a conspiracy that you had prior knowledge, potentially, of Charlie's assassination, that Erika definitely had prior knowledge of Charlie's potential assassination. Or she would say, I didn't exactly say that, but she insinuates.
Right,
And
the implication.
and she has affected your family's life.
Yes.
So let's set the record straight, shall we?
Absolutely.
One, does your daughter in fact work for Erika, and how does she work for Erika?
So I will go back to how we got here.
Okay.
I think it would be, so people can track this. I think it's more important. So I posted a video 3 months after Charlie's assassination in defense of Erika's character. More than anything, I saw what was happening and I just was like, no. So I did the video, and then a few months after that, you know, it was another video just talking about the climate in the world. I mean, with what I do in this world, with working with individuals and families, I see behavior and I see patterns. I recognize patterns really quickly. And so I was watching what was happening with Candace Owens. And so then all of a sudden, I'm with my mom and dad in Missouri, by the way. She did get that right. I did live in Missouri. I was raised in Missouri. And so I was with my parents, and people were texting me going, have you seen this? Are you seeing this? I'm like, you guys, I'm with my mom and dad taking care of my older parents. And so I got on my phone and I was like, interesting. So all I see is photos of myself, photos of my husband, you know, and she did use great photos, which I'm thankful for that. But it was basically, you know, who am I? You know, all of the implied framing that she does, not asking neutral questions. It's always implication. Who is this person? Well, what does her husband do? All the things. So just a rapid fire. Number one, was raised in Missouri, was raised with horses, definitely not raised wealthy. And the funny thing is all my life is out in a book, which has been out 2 years ago, and Erika wrote the foreword, it's just so ironic that this is all being played out. And then my husband is not a Border Patrol agent. We never lived in Tucson. She says she has paperwork with us purchasing a house from 2011. Never did that. And we didn't live in Arizona in the mid-'80s. So there's all these things that are, again, in her mind, this is what she has. And then she will say, well, I didn't say he was a Border Patrol agent. I thought he could be because he's very military-esque. You know, yes, we work out. I didn't own gyms. I owned one gym. And none of these things even matter in the whole conversation. But what it is when you deal with a conspiracy psychosis, you realize that you feed the narrative and then you're able to reframe that into any way you want to. So when that all came out, I was like, okay, knowing Candace, she'll be after somebody else, you know, after a couple of days, we'll just leave it go. Then she came back, and then she came back again, and she then brought my daughter in, and saying that we had this prior knowledge that you're speaking of, which is absolutely crazy. And so to address that was basically my daughter. It had been talked about that my daughter was going to start possibly traveling with Charlie and Erika months earlier. During the summer, they travel as a family. We had conversations.
What did she do? What did your daughter do before that? So they start talking to her about this, but what was her job?
Her job is for Proclaim Streetwear, which is the clothing line.
Erika's
brand,
line.
Yes,
Okay.
that I actually helped her create. And just, you know, that and then Bible 365 Ministry.
So not Turning Point.
She's never worked for Turning Point.
Okay.
And so, and also Candace had said when I did speak with Candace, so I do want to say this. I reached out to Candace through a video.
Yeah, you had a conversation with her.
I reached out to Candace on a video basically saying, here I am. Okay, if you have these questions and you want to know what's going on and you really want the truth by someone who actually has the truth, I'm right here. I have nothing to hide. And she did send me a DM. And so I did reach back out. We had an hour conversation last week on Sunday.
So hold on. I'm sorry. I have to stop you. So what you're saying is Candace Owens defames you, lies about you and your family, and she reaches out to you, and you had a conversation with Candace Owens on the phone. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
So you and Candace Owens have spoken on the phone.
Yes.
I'm curious, I'm just guessing here, was this in regards to this hit piece documentary that she's trying to put together for Erika Kirk? Was that your understanding of this?
So I think after being on the phone with her for an hour, I think that because there was a moment where she said, we are at an impasse. which, again, just from what I do, an impasse means that we no longer agree. So, and then we're going to go our separate ways. And an impasse to me, whenever you decide to call me, my intention for the phone call was to set the record straight.
Right.
About the lies, about the defamation, about all the things that you were saying about my family, and especially my daughter, because you put people in harm's way with no regard. And so, but as the conversation kept going, I realized it was just basically to tell me that I didn't know Erika, that Erika was lying at every single point in time, and that she never loved Charlie, the relationship, all the things that we believe are opinions, right?
Right.
And so when that happened, when she said we're at an impasse, I said, yeah, we are. Because you have perceived information and created content. I have a 15-year lived experience with this person, and I know who this person is. And so that's when I realized that I truly believe that, and then again, this is in Candace's own words, this is my opinion, I believe that it was just a call to come between Erika and I to try to, and I had no idea that this expose was coming up when I took the call for her. It was just, like I said, to right the wrong. I am a confrontational person when I need to defend and I need to stand up for truth, whether it's myself or someone that I care about. And I don't believe that I believe, like I said, it's very irresponsible.
So in the call, you said something very interesting to me. You said, Candace said to you, she didn't believe that Erika ever loved Charlie.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel when you hear something like that from Candace Owens? As someone who's known Erika for 15 years, so you've known Erika from the moment she met Charlie all the way through their marriage, their children.
I remember the first day I met Charlie. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That to me is the that's the first time I'm hearing that. That Candace Owens truly believes, based off your conversation with her, that Erika never loved Charlie, and it's based off what?
Well, it's based off a delusion, first of all, because again, this is the lens that you see things through. But you know, I was at Erika and Charlie's wedding. You know, I mean, and unfortunately, I was at his funeral. I mean, the private funeral. And so I think that when you have someone that's outside that is trying to outright destroy someone, they will take any tactic that they can if they believe that it serves their actual narrative and purpose. Wow. And that's what I see happening. And these tactics are such psychological, warfare out in today's world. And that's honestly, too, Graham, one of my biggest reasonings why I wanted to talk about this was it's overarching. It's not just Erika and Charlie. It's Erika and Charlie today. Yeah. It was you. It was all kinds of people. And
I'm a pedophile, according to Candace Owens.
I mean, do you understand the boldness that this takes to lie about someone to that type of a degree? I mean, that's where I know it's definitely the enemy at work. It's definitely spiritual battles. And the thing is when Charlie was assassinated, I still can't wrap my head around it, but when he was assassinated, this world experienced a revival. We had people I had clients, young clients, asking me for Bibles, asking me, hey, T, can you teach me this scripture? And I am by no means a theologian, but I am on fire for Christ because I know that the world needs him. And that's the other thing too, is this was hijacked. This was hijacked, and then now you've got this collateral damage of Erika and people that care about Erika. And the reason why and again, I think I did insert myself in this because I did step out and defend Erika and her character.
But we should.
Yes,
We are supposed to, as Christians, specifically the widows and the orphans. The Bible is very clear on this, as you should. And so I respect you for that, because very few people right now are doing anything to combat Candace Owens because they are afraid, not of her influence over people, because that's what it is. It is cult-like influence.
Let me correct you though, Graham. It is a perceived influence and a perceived place of authority on a platform. Right. That's truly what that is. She's a podcaster at the end of the day.
Exactly right. Her sources inside the government are bottom GS8, GS9 level employees that don't know anything at that. But to the point, they're afraid of her vindictiveness, of how there is no depth too low that Candace Owens will go. We could talk for 3 hours, but let's shift back to the point. So your daughter never worked for Turning Point USA.
No.
She worked for Erika, for Proclaim, and Bible 365.
Right.
Okay, at some point, and I want you to be very clear with
Yes.
this, at some point, Erika and Charlie start talking to her about perhaps coming along these college campus tours that Charlie does, and then you had an opinion on that.
Right.
What was that opinion, and then when did that conversation actually happen?
So again, she does Bible 365 and Proclaim. She does work down sometimes at the headquarters, you know. So she's in the building. She doesn't do anything for the Charlie Kirk show, which is what Candace said, that she had proof of that, and none of that's true.
Her being in the building is proof that she works
Exactly.
on the Charlie Kirk.
So no, she does not work. And do they ask her to do something? I don't know. I'm not there every day, but I do know what she did. So the conversation came. We're in a very intimate place because we've been in their home. We're with their kids. I mean, and all the information about, you know, Erika not giving, just crazy stuff, not being pregnant. It's so crazy. So we have the intimate knowledge, right? And so we're there, we see it. And so there was conversation about my daughter starting to travel with those guys. Never said anything about a campus tour, or this was absolutely what this was. It was a conversation of traveling. This happened during the summer, which is when Charlie and Erika travel as a family. So I didn't have any conversation back and forth with Erika. And so the day that the assassination happened, I was in my coaching studio with my clients back to back. And as you can imagine, people knowing my relationship with Erika, my phone going off, conversations, phone calls, text messages, just boom, boom, boom. I had clients that some knew Charlie, some were distraught. I mean, it was just a very emotional day, to be completely honest with you. I had an appointment that I canceled with my hair person, and then I had a friend of mine that was going to come in and take a book. I don't know if this is this person or not, because again, Candace has not produced anything for me at all, even though I asked her for it. And so the text message or the conversation was that I had prior knowledge. And so spinning that, which was basically my emotions of, oh my gosh, what if my daughter would have been there? I didn't know where Erika, go ahead.
So no, I don't want to stop you. So, okay, yeah, and just because I know how her audience works, so just to back this up before we go back to that, in the summer, there were conversations of your daughter potentially like adding to her role and or doing more traveling, and you didn't even know if it was the campus events in general, and you expressed some reservations potentially to your daughter in the summer.
Exactly.
So not days, not weeks before, months before
reviewing like her job, what she was doing, you know, are you happy, you know, can you be an asset, are you valuable, those types of things. It's just how I am as a mom.
Okay.
And then that was the conversation, and so it was a what if moment of, and like I said, doing what I do, my what if was not just safety for Erika and all of them. I mean, you know the volatile world that we live in.
Oh yeah.
It's not
I've been to those campus tours with Charlie.
And I've heard firsthand the threats. I mean, we've talked about those, the threats, the kidnapping threats, all the things that they were living with on a daily basis. And so, yeah, my mind as a mom went, I don't want you to go. I don't want that to be part of your role, is basically what it was. So that day of the emotion, my mind went to, what if my daughter would have been there?
The day when Charlie was murdered. So we've jumped months ahead of time.
Correct.
You're at work, you find out about Charlie being murdered.
Correct.
And then someone is there that you just are outwardly saying, can you imagine if your daughter had been there?
Just as a mother thinking not only the safety, but what would that have done to her to witness that? You know, the impact of that, the imprints that happens on someone's psyche. It was all of the things that my mind just went to that moment of what if. And so, and then even like with Erika, I didn't know where Erika was at the time.
Right.
And so, and then I know Erika was with her mother.
Yeah.
And so, and I was not, that was another thing that Candace said on our call. I was not with Erika that day.
Yeah.
I was not with her. And so, you know, it's as a mother, you right away go to worst case scenarios. No different than if you have a bad feeling about something and your daughter starts to beginning, well, I don't know if this is a good job for you. I don't know if this is, you know, what does this job entail? What are these types of things? And so it became that type of a mental track that I'm like, oh my gosh, what if she would have been there? What she would have seen? What would have happened? And then my mind went through, you know, she's safe, she's good. And so this person is basically a friend that I was like, you know, venting to. And so I think that when something is taken out of context, plugged into a narrative and then ran out, I can see where people get twisted on this. And it's very manipulative, but there's no context.
Yeah.
You know, and whoever this person is, if this text exists, you know, you could have easily said, can you clarify this?
Yeah.
You know, this was a crazy emotional day for everyone, and especially since my family's very involved.
No, I agree. So just to be clear, to set the record straight on this one, we got a couple things we got to set straight. Your daughter works for Erika's Proclaim clothing line
Yes.
and Bible 365.
Yes.
She's never worked for Turning Point USA.
No.
And this conversation that you had with your daughter on you don't know how you feel about her traveling with Charlie and Erika more happened months in advance.
Yes.
Not the day before or days before Charlie was murdered.
No. No.
That's a mighty big difference
Yeah.
than the narrative that Candace Owens
Yeah.
has been pushing. And
I actually said to Candace on the call, I said, mother to mother, you know you're a volatile workplace. You know, this is not my world.
yeah,
You know, I'm not in this world, you know, and that's why, again, the conversation, the concern is being twisted and manipulated.
yeah, that's powerful. And what I specifically want to point out is this: Candace Owens, at some point, and for the audience here, Candace Owens got a tip from someone about something, and she took that, and instead of doing any actual conversations of talking to you beforehand, she just went with it.
Right.
Because the power of the breadcrumbs, the power of the what if right now, the psychosis of the conspiracy is taking over. Let's talk about another one. Candace Owens has been on a tangent that Erika's alibi is falling apart. I want to be very clear. There is no alibi. Erika Kirk is not a suspect in any shape, form, or fashion in any way. This is simple truth versus not truth, events versus things that never happened. I want to be very clear about this. Candace Owens is saying that Erika was not with her mother, who, as I understand it, is very sick. Very sick. And admittedly, you're right. My relationship was always more with Charlie. Respectfully so. Why would I talk to her all the time, the wife of my friend? I always talk to Charlie.
Right.
So I wasn't as aware how unwell Erika's mother is.
Yes.
Candace Owens has been saying that Erika was not with her mother on the day that Charlie was assassinated. Is that true? Is that not true?
Complete lie on Candace's part. It is there's verifiable information that she was with her mother at treatment.
Okay, now when you say there's verifiable information, what do you mean by that? What do you mean when you say there's verifiable information?
Verifiable information from sources, from the clinic, from places like that can verify that she absolutely was with her mother. There's photos, there's timestamps. I have a text message. It's undeniable. And I think the thing with Candace is that to say those things, she said on my call that it's verified that Erika was there on the 8th. I'm like, no, she was actually there the morning, the day of. And that was a conversation with her and Charlie that home needs you, your mom needs you,
right.
You need to take care of your mother. And that's what Erika has done, because to your point, I don't think people realize the depth of Lori's illness. And that was something that Candace kind of pushed back on when we called. She said, well, I know she was diagnosed with this, and I know they had treatment. Even Candace's place of where Lori had treatment was incorrect.
Right.
So there's all these things that you know, yes, she was with her mother. I was not with Erika that day. She was with her mother. It's verifiable from the clinic, from backing up text messages from other people. We know that's where she was.
So
very confident in that.
So you know that there is confirmation from the clinic that Erika was with her mother on the day that Charlie was assassinated.
Absolutely.
This is absolutely, like, that right there tears apart everything that Candace Owens is trying to lie. And I think as we continue, I'm kind of taken back by it a little bit. And I would say this, like, I'm sure that people are going to watch and you're going to say, well, where's the evidence? Show us the evidence. Well, I would say this, call us on it, Candace. We dare you. Call us on it. Let's see what you do. Moving back to the conversation.
Yes.
I want to drive this home as we continue to debunk these lies. if Candace will bold-faced lie about these things, then, and this goes out to the people that watch her, how can they trust her to be truthful about anything?
Well, and I think if you look at the timeline of all this stuff from when, like I said earlier, when there was a revival and she kind of hijacked that movement with trying in her mind of, I'm just seeking truth and asking questions. I gave her truth that she did not want. Even there's a video out there about her. She said that Erika and Charlie had an argument the night before. And I said, that's not true. And she said, yes, it is, because they woke up their daughter. And I said, well, have you been to their home?
How would was she in the bedroom?
Well, that's my point.
How would she know?
And I told her that. I said, have you been to their home? Do you understand this? Do you understand how small the home is? And I said, because I have. I've been there multiple times. And she said, well, I just know that that's not true. And I'm like, well, it is true that Erika wanted Charlie to get a good night's sleep. And if he walks past his daughter's room, he absolutely would be in the kitchen and could easily wake her up. But the thing that's so crazy about this, Graham, is that these are lifestyles that don't matter. You know, I mean, but it's another explosive thing that she thinks she has to incite emotional chaos with people that their brain automatically goes to trying to fill in the blanks. This is human behavior 101. And so, you know, they didn't have an argument. And Erika, I mean, I could have woken up their daughter if I was in the kitchen. You know, I mean, these are the things I think that people don't, they just go, oh, there's more, oh, there's more, oh, there's more. And human behavior, like I said, our brain will fill in those blanks when you are in this conspiratorial psychosis. Yeah. You absolutely will.
Candace is framing it the way that I've seen her frame exactly what you're talking about. She frames it as though Charlie woke up their daughter, and somewhere in between, Erika was like, well, just go sleep in the daughter's room. What seems to have really happened is the daughter came into the bedroom, their bed, which is something that happens to 99.8% of parents. And everybody who has kids knows that if you've got something important to do that day, you're not sleeping, because kids are like bowling pins
all over
in the bed. So that's when Erika said, you go sleep in her room.
Correct.
And because I believe he had an early flight that next day. That is a completely different, that key little bit of context. Again, Candace Owens is leaving that out, leaving it out.
But I think leaving it out is what seeds the doubt and the implication for other people to fill in the blanks. So that is her job. You know, even on the video, she says these kids are sleep trained. A toddler should be in REM sleep.
Because she has a night nanny. That's why I'm saying that.
I'm sorry. I've raised kids and I'm a grandmother of 2 grandsons. So I can tell you right now.
Yes.
Good luck with a toddler in REM sleep.
I haven't slept in 15 years.
You're not going to, trust me. It doesn't get any better.
I haven't slept in 15 years.
Yeah.
And so when I heard her say that, it immediately went rich, elitist, night nanny mindset. You know, I wouldn't doubt that after, outside of breastfeeding, and this is my opinion, Candace Owens probably has a night nanny. She probably didn't wake up with her children. We don't know, but who knows? I don't know, but if she can conclude that because the daughter woke up, they had a fight, well, I can conclude if you don't know that 3-year-olds wake up at 2:30 in the morning, you obviously are not getting up with your children. But
it's life.
Yeah, let's digress back into some more of these things here. And I want to ask you, because to your point, you have 15 years of knowing Erika. There's another thing that Candace has been pushing, where she has been pushing that the day Charlie was murdered, Erika not only didn't have her family go with her, but she also waited for over an hour on Andrew Colvett before she went to the hospital. Now, one, I would say this, even if that did happen, which it didn't, but even if it did, I don't know why it's this big conspiracy on, you know, maybe she didn't want to face it alone. Like, I don't know what could have happened. But we know for a fact that Andrew Colvett met her at the hospital. Okay. But talk to me about the family part.
Right.
What is the situation with Erika's family? And maybe you can tell it, and maybe that will give better context to why she went with Turning Point people down to Utah versus her family. Obviously, her mother, who is in Arizona, is very sick.
She can't
so
travel.
that one
No.
makes sense, right?
No, she can't travel.
Does Erika have any other family, and where are they located?
So her sister's in Ohio.
Okay.
And I think Candace knows all this. She's very close with her cousin, who I've not met. I don't know who that is. I don't know Erika's cousin. Her dad and his wife are way on the west side of Phoenix, and also are not in the best physical ability to travel. And I think the thing with because Candace brought this up on the call with me, she said, well, why didn't this, why didn't that? You know, she brought Turning Point people with her. And again, my mind goes to, this was Charlie that was assassinated. So the Turning Point people, they say themselves, we're like a family.
Right.
You know, so obviously they want to go, right? And so, and I don't have information about that part of it that you guys do about Andrew and all that, but I do know that Erika literally stepped out of the clinic and dropped to her knees and was like literally like, what is going on?
Right.
And went straight to the airport.
Right.
And straight to, and then Father Klein, which is a very dear friend of their families, he met her there just to pray for her. And then, God bless this man, he went with her.
Yeah, get on the plane.
Exactly. There was no questions. There was a need. There was a crisis. And I think that the biggest thing is when you're in a crisis, you go with whoever's there.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have time to do these kinds of things. And also getting the information of, was Charlie still alive?
Right.
I need to get there as quickly as I can. You know, and so that part of it with the family, I just don't think there was anyone right there that could have gone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, the reason I bring up the Andrew Colvette waiting for an hour on the tarmac, the reason I bring that up is because Candace frames it as, well, that's really weird, right?
Weird, yeah. Her favorite word.
That's weird that she wouldn't go directly to the hospital. She would wait over an hour for Andrew Colvette, which did not happen. But then she also finds it weird that Erika's family that lives across the country wasn't
ready
on
to
the
go.
plane with there.
Right.
What was she supposed to do? Was she supposed to wait for a day
them,
for them to fly in to Arizona and then they all fly together to Utah? The contradiction there is it's staggering. And I think Candace is getting to a point where she has lied so much. She has misinterpreted intentionally so many things that she can't keep straight with her own hypocrisy.
Well, and she takes the human aspect out of all the stories as well, because I mean, if you're in a crisis in that moment, the people that show up for you that are right there within reach, you're going to go in that moment for support. And I think that that's something that is not criminal. You know, I mean, Candace kept saying it's weird, it's weird, it's weird. And I'm like, weird doesn't equal criminal, number one. And weird just means different. And so maybe you would have a different way of handling a crisis. We don't know, we weren't there.
Yeah.
I don't believe in judging someone else, how they handle something, because I don't know what you would do in that moment. I can't imagine hearing that conversation. And so I think there's also a level of complete disregard for the human part of this conversation.
Yeah.
And these are real people with real lives.
Correct.
And there's real repercussions for people.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, my heart is in this whole conversation, is the fact that you don't get to do damage to people and can continue this. There's a reprobate mind in here from a biblical standpoint.
Yep.
There is the whole depraved mind, which from my experience in prayer is the fact that God will give you over to that until it's time to not do that anymore.
Right.
And I truly believe that that's why these conversations are people becoming more outspoken about this is wrong, this is crazy. It reminds me of, and I said this before, of the whole COVID mindset, to where those of us that spoke out from day one were crazy. You don't know anything, you're this, and then all the people started to take the narrative and build the narrative, which is a pattern. Like I said, there's pattern recognition in here in these kinds of human behavior. And so then there comes a point in time to where at a tipping point to where people are realizing, yeah, this is getting a little crazy.
Yeah.
We're reaching, we're trying to connect dots that go nowhere.
Yeah.
We're trying to do these things, and then people are mentally exhausted, emotionally exhausted. You've done so much damage to people until people have said, we've had enough.
Right.
And then you get the more people like yourself, and you've been speaking out for a while, and that's why I reached out to you, was the fact that this has to stop. And there comes a point in time to where you need to step in.
Yeah. Well, I think the argument can be made. Candace has made a career out of saying, well, that's just weird.
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense. You know, normal people wouldn't behave this way.
Yeah.
Well, I would argue that 6 months worth of daily content, doing what she's doing, is not a normal Charlie's bestest friend in the entire world would ever behave in such a way. And, you know, I wasn't Charlie's closest friend, but I owe everything I have to Charlie. And I truly believe that what Candace is doing, if it had been anybody else that had been murdered, and Candace was doing this to their wife or their widow and their children, Charlie would be the first one to be on the front lines.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he was the only other person with a megaphone big enough to take her on.
Right. Well, there's a point in time to where you honor and you have integrity, and it has to overcome the world's conversation. Our culture is so inverted right now. Moral inversion is rampant. And that's what I believe this is. It's like, you know, when you say something about someone, you need to look in the mirror. You know, the accusations, the lies, all the things, you know, and then Candace also mentioned, you know, there's no way that Erika could have done all these businesses that she's done in these LLCs and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm like, do you know the mind of an entrepreneur?
I have multiple LLCs.
I've been an entrepreneur all my life. I have many, you know, and then she did ask me how I met Erika.
It's amazing to me the things that she says. That she tries to come across as very knowledgeable about. But even a statement like that with like the multiple LLCs and all this stuff, you can pay LegalZoom to file, do your state filings and stuff for you, and you never have to touch a button.
Touch a thing, yes.
And she tries to act like she's this expert on things, but then she says things like that, and it makes you wonder, do you have any idea what you're talking about?
Well, that's why I said that a perceived place of authority. That's why I said that, because people do listen to her. And you just said multiple LLCs. I have multiple LLCs. I've had multiple businesses and brands. And so when you realize that that is Erika, she questioned her degrees and what she does. And I'm like, Erika is a brilliant young woman. And in any other situation, years ago, without a Candace in this, people would be very much in admiration of the way that Erika has handled herself, of the way that she stepped in. It's a biblical, virtuous woman that steps in to continue her husband's legacy.
Absolutely.
And so when you look at this from that standpoint, and you realize she built brands. She lived in New York. She continued with brands. She met Charlie. Her life changed, which is what we talk about, become a wife, become a mother. I mean, I literally am the same exact way. I had my business. I took off 18 years to raise my children, and then I'm back in the game again. But everything has been a continuation of my character to have that depth to it. And Erika's the same exact way. And so all these multiple brands that she's talking about and questioning everything, if you understand the entrepreneurial mindset and the integration that Erika had, even like if you look at Proclaim, for instance, you know, she had the idea, she wanted to do it. It was an amazing thing. It was buy one, give one, all the things. She was busy, and she kept talking about it, and I go, give me the graphics. So she gave me the graphics. I built the samples and gave them to her for her birthday. I said, now go. And then all of the content and all of the context. I've been in fashion for years. And so it's like you mentor someone.
That people are now using those fashion photos against her, as if she was some gold digger.
Oh, it's crazy.
And
I styled most of the photos. I was there, and so that's why I wanted.
So you were there for these infamous photos.
Yes, I was. I was actually there whenever Charlie proposed to Erika. Because and again, a very privileged, intimate place to be to witness these types of things. And so there's so much there that people don't understand, and I don't fault them. And I actually forgive Candace for all of this, to be honest with you, because I think she's being used.
You're better than me at this current moment. I'm
not
there
I think
yet.
She's being used, you know, and so you know, I think that when someone is being used for evil, you know, again, it's not my place to judge someone. It's my place to amplify the good. It's my place to speak truth about someone that I know and that I know is doing great things in the world.
All right, another thing that Candace is just fixated on, and I almost feel like she's fixated on it because it's almost like, feels like potentially a power trip, like being able to claim Charlie. In fact, I made a video about this, and it's the whole Catholic thing. Now, again, I got nothing against Catholics. I'm not a Catholic. I'm a Protestant, you know, not because I'm anti-Catholic. I'm just not Catholic. I made a video saying it feels like she's trying to, it feels like her and other people are trying to claim Charlie.
Right.
And I said in my video that I made, the only people to get to claim Charlie are his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, Erika, and his children. Like,
Right.
like that's it. His parents too, but I mean, he's a grown man. He's married with kids. Like
Correct.
it's God, his wife, his children. Was Charlie Catholic? Was Charlie enrolled in OCIA courses and things like that?
No, and it's funny because on the conversation with Candace and I, she brought up all these things, and I know it was because of my relationship with Erika, I'm sure. He was not taking classes. She said that people told her that he just liked the architecture, and so I threw myself into that because my husband's Catholic. My older daughter is Eastern Orthodox Catholic. I love going to the church to sit in it in reverence and tradition.
Beautiful.
Yes, that's literally, and again, it's not that deep. That's literally what it was. So he was not Catholic. He was not taking classes. He was doing none of those things, you know? And so I think that whenever you try to, and put it in your words, claim something, again, you're hijacking the actual message of Charlie's faith and questioning where it comes from, what the foundation is. And I think Charlie was crystal clear in that. Yeah. And so to try to, again, poke holes in this and hijack this is what Candace is doing, and even in this situation, which she doesn't get to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's kind of a natural lead into the next thing, and I hate to even have to talk about it, but, you know, again, the obsession with the Catholicism thing, I don't know if she feels like maybe if she can prove it, she gets to claim it, or maybe if she can prove it, that might upset some donor. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And that's the psychosis, to your point, of this whole thing.
Correct.
All of these things that we're talking about, what does it matter? Even okay, Erika apparently had a boyfriend or something before Charlie. Who has it? Well, I haven't had a boyfriend, but
Careful.
But who has? Yeah, that'll be the next thing. But like, okay, I dated other women before I married my wife, and my wife dated other men before she married me.
Right.
And the whole thing is turned into this whole things that are completely normal in life. Even if Charlie did like, hey, I like this part of Catholicism, but I can't. Like I like that.
Right.
You know, he said something along the lines of Protestants may have overcorrected with Mary, which I also agree with that. That as Protestants, we don't give Mary her due enough. We don't venerate her enough. We don't honor her enough.
Yeah, she's kind of important.
Very important.
Yeah.
That I agree with wholeheartedly. Yeah. I love the Catholic Church and the adoration that where you can just go and you can just
that's what Charlie loves to do.
And you can just be with the Lord. I love those things. Why does it matter?
I think just if I looked at this from a 30,000-foot view, I think it's just that she methodically wants to try to tear them down and is trying to connect dots. Like I said earlier, they don't connect. So even to the dating part of it, right? I met one of Erika's, ex-boyfriends, big deal. Yeah. You know, I mean, none of this stuff matters, and that's what this whole expose, from what I'm understanding, is she's trying to put this timeline together to where Erika's not this and she's not this but there is a consistency of character that people that know Erika. And so none of these things are criminal, like I said. I mean, if Charlie loved to sit in a Catholic church because he loved the reverence and the tradition, so I do the same thing.
Lock him up for doing such a thing. How dare he?
But I think it's to seed the doubt, it's to seed the implication, it's to let somebody then draw their conclusion through their psychosis to come to the other side of this is what actually happened.
They're hiding things from us.
Exactly, and that's the interesting thing in the world today. It's like, because I thought about it too, it's like if you don't say anything, then silence means compliance. If you do say something and you're coming out ahead, then you have something to hide. Yeah. You know, so you really can't win. So do what you got to do and do what's right anyway.
Candace is putting the seed of doubt that it's not a lie, but if they will lie about Charlie being Catholic, what else would they lie about? Yeah. Well, the same thing with what we've debunked already.
Correct.
If Candace will lie about that, what else will Candace lie about?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Another conspiracy that was going around, circulated by Candace and many others, was Charlie even buried? What was the burial? Did the burial actually happen? Why do we not have any proof of any kind that Charlie was buried, or where Charlie is buried? Well, and then my response was, well, because he was just murdered, so if people knew where he was buried, they'd desecrate his burial, all of this stuff. Can you confirm to the world right now that you know for a fact that Charlie Kirk was buried?
Yes, yes. And my question to that, or my statement to that is, your entitlement
Yeah.
is deafening.
Yeah.
You know, because
I wasn't invited to the private thing. You don't hear me whining about it.
no, I mean, and believe me, I wish I wasn't there. And so, you know, when you witness that and then you realize the climate of the world,
Yeah.
Erika did everything she needed to do to protect that, and for her children.
And rightfully so.
You know, and for her children. I mean, they have a memorial at TPUSA if you ever want to go and give your respects, but you're not entitled.
You're not absolutely.
You know, and that's where
this is a real family.
Yes.
Real lives. They deserve to have the privacy to go visit her husband and their dad.
And their daddy.
And people like this is not, no. Like it makes zero sense.
I mean, imagine though, Graham, imagine someone actually having the mindset that you take that away from Erika and you take that away from the children to basically go in private and to, you know, honor their dad. These kids are forever impacted.
Yeah.
And Erika has done a beautiful job with building a village, you know, around her children to have the influences that she knows that are important.
Well, my message to people watching this is simply this. One day, the Kirk children are going to grow up and they're going to ask the question, where were my daddy's friends? Where were my mom's friends? And why didn't you do something? Why didn't you say anything? And that's one reason that I have been so vocal is not only my love for Charlie and ergo my love for Erika through Charlie,
Correct.
but also for his children.
Yes.
Because the Kirk
That's my
children
heart.
are going to grow up.
Yes.
They're going to become adults. And Lord help all the people that have turned on their mother and their father. And I just, not me. I'm not getting to heaven and the Lord looking at me and being like, why did you not do anything? I hate to bring this one up, but I have to. Candace has now gone on this thing that Erika is some sex trafficker. Yeah. With this Romanian charity organization and things like this. And I bring this up because to my understanding, you were involved in this.
Yes.
Can you explain to us in very layman's terms what this charity was? Because as I understand it, it was more of like a Toys for Tots type thing than anything else. Can you just, can you help us debunk this? Erika was involved in this Romanian child sex trafficking scandal.
It's getting so crazy. So the Romanian Angel Project was part of one of her projects underneath her LLC that she has a nonprofit for, because it was not just one thing, it was multiple things that she wanted to actually be involved in and help. And so she came to me and she's like, hey, I want to do this. There's an orphanage that we can go and we can find out their needs. And again, I've said this to people, well, don't you think you know what their needs are? No, I don't. And I want to make sure that we're getting them something. I don't know how these kids live in Romania. Okay, I know how kids live in here and they're entitled. But I mean, you know, they're simple things. It was, you know, toothbrush, games, books, MP3 players, I think, and coloring things or whatever. And it was a list. And so we got the list. And then families, there's multiple people that would donate or would be a part of it. And so we would go and my daughters would go with me. And the thing for me as a mother was just that I wanted my girls involved in this. And I trust Erika explicitly with what she chooses to get behind. And I want my daughters to experience helping someone else. And so we would go, we'd purchase the gifts that were on our list. You would pick either a boy or a girl or whatever it was. And we go, and then we intentionally created a tether, I guess. So I would buy specific Christmas wrapping paper, and then my daughters would wrap the paper, and then once these gifts were delivered with the help of the military, because we couldn't ship direct.
Yeah, the Marines were involved in this.
Exactly. So, and we packaged.
Seems like very verifiable stuff, Candace, but either way.
I know.
Go ahead.
So we would wrap everything up. We had a day, you know, at Erika's house, or where Lori lived, and so we would wrap everything up. It was a day. Everyone was there, prayed over all the gifts, just wanted it to make an impact, and then they would go. And I never went to Romania. I wish I would have gone to visit, but I never did. My kids were younger then. And so she would send a video back of this actually being done, which I know she did that because she wanted things to be.
It's on YouTube. I've seen it.
Yes.
It's like 12 years old video.
Exactly.
It's on YouTube.
It's been there forever. Yeah. And then my kids, you know, selfishly, my kids would see the video and they would see their Christmas wrapping paper. And they were like, we did that all the way around the world. Yeah. And so, but you don't get to hijack something so amazing as what this was. And that was Erika's heart. And her 501c3 was started out of the death of one of her friends.
Right.
you know, as a teenager. So this is her heart, you know what I mean? And so the Romanian Angel Project is interesting because people interject all the child trafficking, all the all the things, right? Has nothing to do with what she did.
Right.
Does it happen around the world? It happens here in Phoenix. So yes, it does,
Yeah.
and it's horrific. So if somebody's worried about that, get involved locally.
Yeah,
you know,
Atlanta is one of the biggest hubs
Yes.
of sex trafficking here in America. So everyone who lives in Atlanta is a sex trafficker.
right? Proximity is
Proximity
what we're saying.
is all these things, and not to downgrade the charity at all. I think that's amazing what it was, but
It's not that deep.
correct, right? Like you know, the way it's been thing is this super in depth, lots of money exchanged, and all this other kind of stuff.
Oh.
It sounds like there was no money exchanged.
No.
And it was just people, almost like what do they call it at churches where you take the name off the tree?
Christmas angel.
Yeah, Christmas angel.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
Yeah.
It seems very similar to that.
And just that time of the year. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes things aren't that deep. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Sometimes they are really simple.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what this was. It was just a simple thing to be able to give back. That was literally it. And those of us that were parents in it, we wanted our kids to see it. You know, and so that's where, and the conversation of like what you said a minute ago, throwing around the money and all that kind of stuff, that muddies the water of what the mission actually was, because there was no money.
Right.
There was nothing involved in any of this at all.
Well, Miss Tracy, I appreciate your bravery in all of this, but I have to ask you a personal opinion question to end this thing out. I've reached out to Candace multiple times, text the number I had for her multiple times, figured, well, maybe she's changed her number. So I reached out to a mutual friend, Brandon Tatum, and I said, Brandon, will you give this message to Candace? This was months ago. I was like, I need to understand. I just want to understand why she's doing what she's doing. She's never spoken to me, but she's spoken to you. So my question to you is, I don't believe that Candace secretly loved Charlie and all that. I believe that she loved the power that Charlie potentially had, my opinion.
Right.
I do not believe she actually wants the truth in what happened to Charlie Kirk. I believe Tyler Robinson, my personal belief, should get the death penalty, and his justice is coming. Again, my belief. Why do you think Candace is doing what she's doing? After speaking to her, why do you think that we are where we are having this conversation right now?
And again, it's my opinion as well, but observing after the phone call and the behavior, I just think she wants to destroy Erika, and I think she wants to destroy Turning Point. I honestly do. I think that it's a combination, and it may not even be that deep for her. You know, I mean, there's money involved. She's making a lot of money off these podcasts. And then she brought up, well, Turning Point's making a lot of money. They should. Charlie paid with his life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know what her intention is. I asked her what her end game was, and she said to find truth. And I said, if that's the case, do you have the humility, and this is my thought, that you possess to pivot and right this wrong? You know, because ultimately I believe that if you are in that position and you find out information that is true and factual, which is what you say you want, when you have that information in front of you, you have a responsibility then to right the wrong. And so, and I actually asked her that just to throw this in there. I asked her that on the phone call. How are you going to right the wrong against my family? And she said, I will instantaneously put a message out, and that didn't happen.
Whoa. Okay.
So,
all right. So, on your phone call with Candace, you debunked certain things.
Many things.
And she said on the call that she would, like in a week, immediately.
Instantaneously was the word.
She said she would instantaneously make a correction. And as of the time of this filming, when did you speak to her?
Last Sunday.
Last Sunday. So as of the time of this filming, she has not kept her word.
No. No. And she did say she was not filming this week. You know, and I'm like, well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to put a message out.
She said she was going to put a post out.
Instantaneously, yes. And the other thing that I addressed to her was about other people that are doing what she's doing, and the gentleman, Stu Peters. And he has taken her content and included myself in all of his content as well, and done all these bashing. And I said, your friend Stu is doing the same thing that you are doing. And she said, well, he's not my friend, but I would be happy to reach out to you if he's giving you headaches. That didn't happen.
Reach out to him. Okay, all right.
To stop, because we realize these are not connecting the way that you want them to connect, or her words are tracking.
So I guess my biggest question is, if Candace can't keep her word about something as small as putting an X post out to correct something, how can the viewers that watch Candace trust her to do anything?
Well, and especially for I'm a little peon. I'm a nobody. It's just that you picked the wrong person because I don't believe you get to do this, and so I don't believe that there is a core of honesty to actually right these wrongs and to turn things in the right direction to seek truth if that's what you want. So the instantaneous message didn't come out. It didn't right the wrong, and that's why I reached out to you, because I needed to do this for myself and for Erika. And ultimately for Charlie, because I think you are degrading Charlie's legacy by doing this to his wife.
I couldn't agree more. Miss Tracy, I applaud your bravery. I thank you for sitting here with us and actually doing what Candace claims that she's doing, putting facts to everything, putting truth to everything, actually having these conversations and not having conversations behind closed doors and then telling people their side of the thing. This is you. This is your 15 years of lived experience with Erika, and you know, God bless you for it. Thank you for standing up for Erika. Thank you for standing up for your friend. But even if she wasn't your friend, thank you for being willing to take the blows that came before this and will probably come after this. Is there anything that you want to say to the people watching this at home?
You know, I really just think that most people need to have the courage. They need to realize that when you know something that is true and factual, logically address it. Don't go through the chaos. Don't be sucked into the machine, because you will become the machine eventually. There's no ways around that. And I think this is really easy to do. I mean, I appreciate your words, but it's easy because the truth stands on its own. And so there's nothing to hide. I'm happy to have confrontational conversations with anyone because I stand on that truth. And I know that God is all over this conversation, and I know that He knows Erika's heart, and that's really all that matters. It's no one else's job to judge another. And if you are a Christian and if you are a believer, I think you should get back in the Word if you're questioning that. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
No, absolutely. All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Instead of he said, she said, rumor mills, tip lines, there you have it. There's the information. There's the other side of the story. Now it's up to you to decide what you're going to do with it.